To practice using variables and creating games with advanced user interaction, we are going to create our own Pong game. So just like any of our other projects, the first thing we're going to do is create a new project. Once your project is open, you want to change the name of the project to your name and whatever the project is. So we're going to say Miss Paspalis Pong Game. And that's just what it's going to be. So first step, like most of our other projects, we are going to delete the cat. And let's select a new backdrop. So I'm going to choose a backdrop from the library. So I'm going to scroll through all the backdrops until I find the neon tunnel. That's going to be the backdrop for our Pong game. Press OK, and now it's in there. So we have our stage and our backdrops. Now we need some sprites. So we need a ping pong ball. So let's choose a sprite from the library. Choose this ball, select the costume, press OK. So we have our ball, and now we need some sort of paddle that we're going to be able to hit the ball with. So let's paint a new sprite. We're going to go over to the rectangle, select the rectangle, and select that it's filled in. Let's make this a neon green paddle. So I'm going to go over here, kind of draw a paddle. It doesn't really matter how big it is. We just want it to be able to hit our ball whenever it touches. Oh, that looks good to me. Perfect. So let's first start our script for our paddle. So before we do anything, let me rename this paddle. Sounds good. So when I'm clicked on the paddle and I'm in my scripting area, that's going to be the script for that paddle. So just like any of our other games, we're going to start with an event when the green flag is clicked. And we are going to make this paddle act as our mouse. So the paddle will move as we move our mouse back and forth to be able to hit the ball. So we're going to go to Control, grab a forever loop. We're going to go to Motion, and we are going to set X to, go to Sensing, Mouse X. So now as our mouse moves side to side, so will our paddle when this is running. Because the paddle cannot move up and down, we are only concerned about the mouse X coordinate here. So we are just moving our mouse along the X axis, so we don't need to set Y to mouse Y. So let's start this. And every time I'm moving my mouse, now the paddle moves back and forth as well. So let's stop. So believe it or not, that's all we have right now for the paddle. We're going to now click on the ball and start the ball script. So just like any of our other projects, before we do anything, we want to add some sort of reset code. So whenever we restart the game, the ball will start in the same spot each time. We're going to pull over when green flag is clicked. And we're just going to go to a spot. Let's just make it maybe 20. X equals 20, Y equals 150. And then we're going to pull over a point in direction block and type in 45. 45 isn't part of our drop-down menu, but you can type in your own direction or number that you want it to go to. So we're going to point in direction 45. So now that we created our reset code, we need to add code to bounce the ball around the screen. And since this is a game, we want this bouncing to happen forever. So we're going to pull a forever loop, place it under our point in direction block. We're going to go to Motion. And some of you have experimented with this block before, but this if on edge bounce block, we're going to put that right in our forever loop. And then we're going to add a move 10 steps block, but let's change it to 15 steps. So we have our reset code, and now we have the code for if the ball touches the edge of our stage, it's going to bounce off and move 15 steps. So let's press the green flag. The ball should be bouncing around the stage. But if you notice, I don't have the capability yet to be able to hit the ball with my paddle. So the ball is actually just touching the bottom of the stage, but I can't use the paddle to hit at all. So let's stop our program. We need to add the code for the paddle hitting the ball. So we're going to go to our control tab, pull over an if-then loop, go to sensing, and this first block is touching, and then there's a drop-down menu. So we're going to add that in. If touching paddle, then we're going to have it do something. So if touching paddle, then maybe let's add a code to play a sound because that will make it more interesting. So I'll do play sound, and instead of doing pop, I'll add a new sound. Go to the Sounds tab, click on Choose Sound from Library, and let's do the water drop. Select OK. That would be a cool sound to have every time the paddle hits the ball. It'll play that sound. So we're going to go back to my scripts, play sound, water drop instead of pop. And then we're going to add the rest of the code to bounce the ball off the paddle. So if the ball is touching the paddle, then it's going to play a sound. We want the ball to turn to a random direction. So if you remember from the Ghostbusters game, we can choose a random number by going to operators, pull over this pick random, and instead of doing 1 to 10, let's do 150 to 200. Make it a bigger number. And then have it move 15 steps. And we need this code to go into our forever loop. So let's see if this works. Oh. So the ball now bounces off the paddle. It turns into a random direction and goes back around the stage. Now, if you notice, there was no losing this game. So even if the ball touched the bottom of the screen or I missed it with my paddle, nothing really happened. So in order to make this a little more difficult, we are going to add like a red zone at the bottom of our Pong game. So you're going to go into your stage, click on stage, and go into backdrops. And in the neon tunnel backdrop, we are going to add a red block at the bottom of our stage. So what we can do is click red here, make it a little bigger. Oh, we don't want to do that. Going to add a rectangle. Maybe make it a little skinnier, just like that. So in order to create the red zone at the bottom of our stage, I'm going to select the red color. Maybe increase the thickness of my line here, the line width. Select this rectangle tool and just drag and draw a rectangle at the bottom of our backdrop. Maybe make it a little thinner, doesn't really matter, but that looks good to me. And if you notice, it shows up on our screen in our stage. Now the paddle is a little bit too close to the red zone. So I'm just going to go back into the paddle, click on the paddle, and I'm just going to move it up ever so slightly just so it's hovering right above the red zone. That looks good to me. So now we have our stage with the red line, our paddle's in the right spot, and we're good to go. To create the program for ending the game, or if the ball actually touches the red zone of the screen, we're going to use an if block to check when the ball hits the red bottom of the stage. So we're actually just going to create a new script for this. So pull over when a green flag is clicked. Then we can go to Control and add this if-then loop. So if the ball is touching the red part of the stage, which if we go to Sensing, we can go if it's touching color. Select the box in the if touching color block. Get the hand symbol to come up. Select what color you want in your stage. We got red. So if the ball touches the red on the stage, we want everything to stop. Oh, we're actually going to put this inside the if loop. Now, since this is a game, we need this to go on forever. So you're just going to pull the forever loop around the if-then statement. That's also why there's a forever loop around the rest of the code in the ball script, because since this is a game, every time the green flag is clicked, we want this to happen continuously. So let's see if this works. I'm going to press the green flag. Got it so far. Oh, hit the red, stopped. I can't move anything. The program is over. I have lost the game.